Welcome to We Are Soccer. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we've got lots of soccer to talk today. We are 14 days away from the World Cup. 14 days! Incredible. We've been talking about it for months and months and months. We are almost there. But there's lots of soccer in between there. So wrap your World Cup stars in cotton wool and bubble wrap because holy crap, they're dropping like flies. We need these guys to stay healthy. Oh my gosh, Alonso Davies goes down, Pogba's gone down, Timo Werner's gone down, just to name a few. The stars are dropping, 14 days away. They're still playing for their club. This condensed schedule is crazy, absolutely crazy. Bundesliga fans put on a nice Qatar demonstration, I want to say, in some of their stadiums this past weekend. That was fun. Anyway, lots of other stuff to get to. My Aston Villa win 3-1 over Manchester United. The Unai Emery era has started. New manager bounce, whatever you want to call it. It was nice. It was good. I must give a big pat on the back to some of the Man United fans. I had a lot of them contact me today and say, hey, good game. You deserve to win. Well done. Man United fans very much appreciate that because you give me a lot of shit when you beat us. So you actually did the right thing. Well done. Very, very good. I know a lot of Man United fans, if you couldn't tell. Arsenal beats Chelsea 1-0. Arsenal flying. Probably could have won that game by a little bit more. Chelsea, Graham Potter reign is dipping a little bit there. Ooh, that new manager bounce has stopped and it is now rolling. Graham Potter does not have them going in the right direction. MLS Cup Final yesterday, Saturday. LAFC beats Philadelphia Union in penalties. What a game. What an absolute game. You know who the winner of that game was? The MLS. The MLS and all of us who watched it. I'm telling you, I was thoroughly entertained. We had comebacks, we had goals galore, we had overtime goals, we had penalties. Unfortunately, a nasty leg break. We can talk about that. We won't show it. That's horrible. Another star there from the World Cup who won't be going. And then this week, documentaries dropping. FIFA documentary, David Beckham Youth Team documentary, Grant Wall, Good Rivals USA, Mexico documentary dropping. So those are coming. Those are must-watch documentaries, in my opinion. And this week, Wednesday, World Cup rosters drop. We'll chat about the USA World Cup roster, along with a couple of other things. All right, lots to get to. Before we jump in, as I said, we're 14 days away from the World Cup. Guys, let me know if there's a team, a topic, a player you want us to talk about in the comments of whatever platform you're on, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Let us know. Comment. We'll follow along. We'll answer those questions. All right, right now, I'm going to kick it back to the boys at the kids' table. We'll join Nate and Brooks on the other side of the room. Boys, how we doing?
Good.
Like I caught you guys off guard. You didn't know we were live and coming and just talking to myself over here?
Yeah.
How's it going, boys?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just zoned out when you talked about Villa and your lathering of fandom over there. Just kind of blacked out for half a minute. Who's the one person that, like, you're like, I know all these United fans. I know there's probably just one dude that's, like, getting under your skin constantly and just in your brain. And it ain't me. It's not me. I didn't even say anything. I, like, watched the game, like, hours, so I get no one pointing at me, right? But there's, like, one guy, you're just like, all these fans I know, and it's one dude just like, hey, Craig, good job. And you're like, oh, damn.
No, there was. I actually counted 5.
Oh,
five United fans who, as soon as that game ended, either contacted me in a text message or on the We Are Soccer Facebook group said, you know what? Villa deserved that win. Man United were shit today.
Oh, yeah.
I will say Man United were, I think, the new manager bounce, right? If you want to jump right into it, we can.
What do you mean? You don't think that he had a tactical coaching prowess to get these guys on the same page within 24 hours that he actually walked into the stadium? Huh, come on, Craig.
I know.
Come on, Craig.
Crazy.
I mean, he was hired he officially started Saturday. He moved his stuff into the office, and there he goes. He's got all his guys just on the same page.
I will say you're slightly wrong. He started November 1st, which is Tuesday. But
my bad. Sorry.
What can you do in 4 days, right? Well, okay. So here's the difference. And I did have 3 or 4 we'll say non-Villa fans and non-United fans say this on the Facebook group. They looked like a completely different team. For some reason, the Villa players decided they got a good first touch, they got good passing, they know how to defend, and they got field vision. Where the fuck has that been for the past 3 months?
So,
in every game we've played, it's bizarre. It was like a different team today. New manager bounce.
I don't
know. It has to be, right? It has to be.
As someone who watches the Bundesliga, and there's quite frankly new managers that are shifted in and out, there is 100% a thing called the new manager bounce. It's kind of like the Craig Hearn bounce. We'll talk about that later. But it's the new manager bounce I think is a real thing. Not to take anything away from the new coach, because I do think that it will be interesting to see how he does, but I want to expect that week in and week out. Personally, maybe, who knows? But I it's just one of those things. And United, being that they're building something, trying to develop something, is not, and I've said this time and time again, it's not uncommon for a team like them that's not that deep when you look at talent overall, especially because they were missing several starters: Sancho, Anthony, Verdine, Fernandez. Okay, 4 players, like almost half their starting squad was gone. Now, that's not an excuse. That's just a fact. So it's not uncommon for a team that, like United, who's slowly building, trying to develop something, missing key players, to go in and basically shit the bed. It's also not common for them to also look really awesome the next week. Don't buy into anything. It's the end of the year will determine what it is. Now with Villa, I think it's the same thing. I'm only happy. The only thing I'm happy about is because I was running late to the game. I was late in the business, so I missed like the first goal, kind of. And I looked on the phone. And who scored that first goal there, Craig?
Your boy, Leon Bailey.
And I'm glad you said my boy, because he came from where?
The Bundesliga.
Bayern Leverkusen.
Yep. And yes. I flat out said, this guy is going to be really good. Give him some time, because he was sweet in the Bundesliga. He'll be sweet for you. That's a good pickup. And it's
Jamaican national team as well.
So, yeah. But it's finally good to see him actually, ping one in, and hopefully under this new coach and under this new system, that's something that player will do well with, because I think he's a good player.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I agree 100% with you. But
especially when I'm talking up one of the Villa players.
Well,
you're not
gonna, of course.
Yeah. Tell me also how good looking I am, Nate.
Right. But it was interesting that United just couldn't get on the ball like we've seen them in several games in the past, but they were missing some players. Interesting enough, if everybody wants to know the next time they play, it is 4 days away. They play, Villa travel to Old Trafford and play in the Carabao Cup on Thursday evening. So now this game, I've had 2 different opinions of this game from a Villa perspective. One, Villa should take their top team, the team that just played, the best players, the best tactics, go and win that game and play for the Carabao Cup and see if we can really stick it to United again. 2, my opinion, don't give a shit about the result. I want to see him play players who didn't play today. Is he going to play Callum Chambers? Is he going to play Morgan Sanson? Is he going to play John McGinn more? Can he play Ings more? I want Unai Emery to use Carabao Cup game at Old Trafford on Thursday to get to know the players a little bit more. I don't actually want to be in the Carabao Cup, because that's not our focus. Our focus is to try to finish in the top 7 of the Premier League.
I think you're
exactly as called by Tom Rennie.
I think your goal is not to get relegated this year, but anyways,
agreed, 100%. So
top 7, just hold your horses. Just don't get relegated.
Goal is top 7. Screw the Carabao Cup. Play the kids. Play the guys who we've got a new manager. He doesn't know half the players on this team.
No.
Play those guys. The result, we lose. Big deal. We picked up points where it counted in the league.
No.
And then there's a big break coming up, obviously.
Now let me ask this. Do you think that maybe, just hear me out, do you think maybe, because United is playing basically the same team in 4 days, that Hag kind of just use this as a way to rotate, maybe, play a little different? Ronaldo historically does not start as a forward. Montreal wasn't injured. He came on in, and it looked a little bit different when Anthony was out there. Yeah, Anthony Montreal. So, not to say he didn't want to show it, but do you think that played a factor in the squad that he selected?
I mean, it would. Both managers have to think about the game they're playing in 4 days against the same team.
Well, no. Villa needs points because they don't want to be towards the bottom. United is still within very good striking distance with a game in hand to be in the top 4. They are. They have a game.
I think
they win their next game.
I think both managers would prioritize the
3 points
the
by
Premiership,
Tottenham for
the 3
number
points.
And they have a game in hand.
Yes, they only
Yes.
played 13.
You
Yes.
think? Let me make sure I understand what you're asking. You think that possibly he was prioritizing the game on Thursday, the Carabao Cup game, more than the league game?
Why not? It's a cup, right?
Nah, come the end of the year.
It's a cup, right?
Oh, he needs. He
You have a
needs to
game
win
in hand.
trophy.
Hold on. You have a game in hand. You're outside of the top 4 with a game in hand still.
Is that a requirement for Ten Hag to win a trophy at Man United?
I
this
think
year?
so.
It
I
is,
think so.
But what happens if you finish 5th and
What-
you lose in the semifinals?
What happens if you finish 5th and you win the
make it
Europa?
League?
and you're down by a point because you didn't?
What happens if
prioritize
you
a league
finish?
game?
What happens if you finish 5th?
I don't think you would find many people.
What
who
happens
agree
if you
with
finish 5th and you win the Europa?
that. You.
Are you in that much?
So you think
with
no,
2 games in
no,
hand?
that's
Hold on,
silly.
hold
That's
on,
silly
hold
thinking.
on. You're saying that I think Tag went. We can lose this game and be okay. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you have 2 games in hand. You're 3 points out of 4th. You have a cup game in 4 days against the same team, so maybe that plays a factor. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And you go, we slip up, we're still okay.
Yeah. So they have a game in hand. The 2 teams above them, Tottenham at 4th with 26 and Newcastle in 3rd with 27. Both have 14. Arsenal, Man City are the same with 13 games played so far. So
yeah.
I don't see very many coaches prioritizing the Carabao Cup, first Carabao Cup game over a
Just a
league
thought.
game. And what happens if Man United don't win the Europa?
What happens if they do?
Well, then obviously next year they're in the Champions League.
Okay, then there you go. See, this is the problem with some people.
what
They
hap-
don't think about the
it's-
positive, Brooks. This is what I tell to my kids. Don't think about the what happens if it goes wrong. Think about what happens if it goes right.
there's a lot of what ifs here.
There is a lot of what
A lot
ifs.
of what ifs don't really mean anything.
Absolutely.
Stop
true,
being a voice of reason, Brooks.
Absolutely.
Oh, next thing you're going to say
Brooks.
is we're still in the middle of the season and there's a lot more time to go.
Yeah.
That was your time to go, hey, Nate, we're still in the middle of the season. A
Brooks,
lot more time to go.
yeah.
Brooks, you're
Bring
supposed to
us
follow that.
back
Brooks,
down
you're
to
supposed to follow that.
Yeah.
That's
timing.
down to earth. All right.
The only thing that matters in this game is what happens on the day and the results you get. Then we can all talk about what ifs and what happened, but
Yeah, true.
on the day, Villa beat Man United.
Yep.
And Villa
Absolutely.
got the 3 points, and Man United didn't.
Gold star
Absolutely.
for Brooks, my new favorite guy at the kids' table. There.
Yeah.
2 gold stars for Brooks.
Oh, I put you like 5 behind you.
I never
Maybe
said that
maybe.
wasn't important. I'm just saying, did team selection with playing the same team in 4 days
Sure.
had a factor? I'm not saying that Tag intentionally went out there
I know.
to tank
No,
it.
he didn't.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
hey, did you think this maybe played a factor in tactics and personnel who was selected?
Possible.
Considering
I think
Anthony
so.
Martial wasn't the guy selected and Ronaldo was.
Possible because
That's
it's
it.
a tight window here.
That's
they,
it.
They want to get some games in, some cup games and league games
That's
before
it.
this break.
I'm not saying it was
it's tough.
Yeah, I'm not
It's
saying
almost like this is like a first half of the winter part.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's up there. You guys think I'm taking things away?
Have you guys seen, not to divert away, but in that game, I actually just saw it about an hour before we went live here. There's a video of that free kick that Lucas Digne takes and scores on De Gea.
Mm-hmm.
And have you seen that Emi Martinez, the Villa goalkeeper, comes up into the United half and he's lining up the wall because there's 2 guys standing in front of the Man
Villa
United
players?
wall. He lines
Oh,
up
he's
the 2
telling them
Villa
where to
players.
stand?
He's going, hey. I mean, he sprints 70 yards and starts lining up the guys. And just as he moves them, you see De Gea kind of take a half step to look around them, and the ball is hit, and he can't get back. And you're like, what the hell did he just sprint 70? Oh, he moved the wall.
So-
It's brilliant. You
So
don't
why
see
don't
that
free
very
kick
often.
takers
So
do
hold
that
on, you heard the
often?
controversy about that wall, though, right?
No, there was 2 yards away, and there was a line there, so I didn't see the controversy.
Yeah, they're
at
saying
all.
that the ref. This was the commentators on the radio. That
Red-
the ref pushed the wall too far back,
So it was more than 10 yards.
so he had more space, and that was the comment from the commentators of the radio, of which I was listening as I was driving to my game. So that's me just repeating it, and I watched it later. I didn't walk it myself, obviously, but that was their comment.
Use your fingers on the screen.
Yeah,
like, this is just a yard and fingers.
I micro-freezed it,
Yeah.
and then I was like, back and to the left, just like this film. No, like that. But that was the comments from the commentators was, what's the ref doing? Why is he pushing the wall back too far? That's more than 10 yards.
And it allowed for that on the NBC.
They did on the Sirius XM radio broadcast.
On the NBC Live one, they didn't.
Well, that's because it's Americans and they don't know what they're doing. No, just kidding.
No, we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We do replays and VAR very well.
That's true. That's true.
I did not hear that, and to me, I didn't notice it. So.
Hand on Bible, that's just what I'm repeating from the commentators from Sirius XM. And actually, when the ball went in, they repeated that several times. So it wasn't like a one-off. They kept saying, well, that wall was too far. Well, that's got to be reviewed. That's not right. That wall was too far. So, I don't know. And then they were like, the complaint was Ronaldo. Actually, their complaint was at Ronaldo for not going and saying something to the ref prior to the kick being taken. As the captain, he should have stepped up and said, wait a minute, you're pushing this wall back too far.
Why was Ronaldo the captain today?
Because... you need a logical reason. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's nothing logical about him being captain.
Well, yeah, that's why I said because.
It's terrible. I put half the United team there before him because he's useless.
We have one comment from Mike B.
Mike B?
Yes,
I like
I can't pronounce his last name. I'm sorry. Very sorry, Mike. He said maybe VAR can draw it for everyone next time. Maybe
I want to see the lines on the thing.
Maybe VAR. Maybe that should be reviewable free kicks if the wall's not far enough or too close or too far.
My question to you is, what are you drinking tonight, buddy? A couple of weeks ago, you took a picture and you had a nice glass of whiskey.
Yes.
Funny thing is Kurt's drinking. Kurt had a comment. The Kurt, who I think, like, I just watch him on Facebook and all the places he goes as he coaches. It's kind of
he takes some good pictures.
Where in Michigan is Kurt coaching right now?
Like,
and he is.
Yeah.
He's got some hard cider going on, and my reply to him was counting them carbs. Counting them carbs. Good
Thanks
job,
for watching,
buddy.
Boys, appreciate it.
Clean drinks. Clean drinks. 6 packs.
I've actually been under the weather for the last couple of days. I don't know if you guys can hear my voice.
Good, yes. I'm glad we're in this confined room with you now.
Yeah, sorry you're in this room. So I'm not drinking alcohol at the moment. I'm drinking some energy.
I take my vitamins every day, so I think
I take a lot of vitamins. And what?
Did you get your
all right.
vaccine?
Glenn Hearn with the hot comment, hot take. Ronaldo is, and then Ronaldo is shit. It's one of those.
You're not wrong, Glenn. You're not wrong.
Those are some in-depth research.
Glenn Hearn.
No
relation whatsoever at all. Not my younger brother.
Bullshit. No way.
Not my younger brother.
No way.
Yeah, Glenn Hearn with the hot. That's who is in his head. Now we have it. No, that's the mystery guy.
Glenn might be a bigger Villa fan than me.
Oh, okay.
I actually do want to say, I'd heard from some Man United fans that Lisandro Martinez was named Man United Player of the Match. I want to trump that and say he is one. No, I think he got found out today, but the kid who played wide left, Garnacho.
Yeah, Garnacho.
Holy crap, what a player!
You mean
I think that kid is going to be a stud in a couple of years.
And he's the one who also scored in the Champions League game, and that's why he got the start. And he's coming straight from the United Academy, and he looks poised too.
I believe he's Argentinian as well.
Now, huh?
Yeah, and you know what's great too? I counted. I believe there was between both teams, 7 South American players on both sides of the field that playing.
Listen, MLS was going after these guys, and I mean, not that
South Americans or United players.
South Americans.
Okay.
And they got a few, and then they're like, "Oh, Miguel Marón came over, and Newcastle just bought him," and then everyone's like, "Oh, maybe there's actually some good talent in South America." Not that guys from Brazil and other good, players from national teams were going over to England or whatnot.
Brooks,
but
I read what you're putting down.
Yeah.
the Premier League's copying off MLS. And
Yes.
I agree with you.
Yes.
I agree with you.
Yes.
That's what's going on.
One of the things
I can't wait for the playoffs.
One of the
Yes.
things, actually, and I do want to
Craig?
talk about the LA Galaxy Philadelphia Union MLS Cup Final. Hold on.
Not
real quick.
LA Galaxy, LAFC.
I'm sorry, LAFC.
Don't
excuse
butcher
me.
that because your
Wha-
favorite player plays for LAFC.
This is true. One of the things I do want to talk about from that game, from LAFC versus Philadelphia Union in the Cup Final, my brother pointed out, my other brother, I got two younger brothers, Kyle pointed out, he goes, what are the dashes below the names on this below the team name? And I said, well, there's 5 of them. It's subs. It's how many
Yes.
how many they got left. And he goes, oh, that makes sense. And his next comment to me was, I wonder when the Premier League will do this, because it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
if you join a game late, or if you can't hear,
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a
how
good
many
idea.
subs
I
have
like
they
it.
used?
You don't know.
How many subs
Yeah,
have they used?
I like it.
You don't know. And I went,
I'm surprised
it's actually
NBC
really
Sports
well
hasn't
done
done
by MLS and Fox.
Yeah.
Fox, yes.
Yeah, Fox.
Yeah. So when exactly is the Premier League getting the playoffs again? Is it?
That'll come in about 2 years.
And Villa is Villa or is United when they play Villa in the playoffs? Do you think they're gonna prioritize the roster for that? Or
See, when the playoffs happen in the EPL,
Yeah.
there's going to be financial fair play,
Oh.
and there's going to be more parity
Yeah.
because
Nice.
everyone likes how much parity there is
Yep.
in MLS.
Yep.
So hence, the league's going to be a lot better, and then other leagues will be better because the teams in the Bundesliga in
Yep.
Italy can then get players. So then the
Correct.
Champions League will be interesting again because it's not going to be the same 6 teams all the time.
And in this fantasy world we live in, the MLS owners, as I pointed out, absolutely care more about the game than money and just developing things and making things work well.
Yes.
And yes, this is a loaded drink that I have, and I might be blind right now.
I almost just spit my juice out.
Sorry.
there, my drink.
The,
Oh
the
my
truth
God.
that I be spitting.
Yes. All right. One of the other games that happened this past weekend, Chelsea at home to first place Arsenal. Arsenal dominating again.
London
Christian
derby.
Pulisic not getting minutes. Graham Potter and his Chelsea team on a little bit of a slide here. Ooh, 2 games in a row now they've lost. As Nate said last week, maybe they need to fire the manager and get that manager down at Brighton because he did a real good job.
Yeah, he did.
Should we call him Graham Farter now?
Got him.
Got him. Yeah, Chelsea struggling. Arsenal, we're still waiting for that drop. We're still waiting for that we know what Arsenal do. They do well. They do. They're here. Oh, crap. They dropped it again. They
Well,
shit the bed. When is it going to happen? They're young. Arteta has them moving in the right direction. They're creating goals, creating opportunities like never before. It doesn't quite remind me of the Invincibles back in 01, but
Did you
they're not
guys
far
watch
off.
the All or Nothing Arsenal?
Yeah, with Aubameyang.
Yeah.
And
But you could
look,
tell.
he was on the other team today.
Oh, no, that is the funny part, right? It's like he was on that team and then he lost to the team. But anyways, I just kind of noticed within that All or Nothing. I saw that progression. He's like, I want players. They're gonna train hard and do what's asked of them. And he got all the players out of there, and they've given him time, and they've given Arteta belief and that he'll get him to the promised land, and that's back in first place and in Champions League and do well. And he's delivered so far. Everything he's done, the moves they've made, getting Zinchenko and some of the Jesus, yeah,
Who's
Gabriel
on a
Jesus.
9-game scoreless streak.
Yeah,
But
he's
a
delivered.
great signing, absolutely.
He's
done
delivered.
good signings, yes.
He's found, and he's coached both of them too, so they know him and they're very familiar with what he wants. So he has done great. And you just see the buildup in All or Nothing.
They started
going
the
that way.
season 0-3 last year,
Yes.
and after that third loss, Arsenal fans were calling for Arteta's head, saying, we need someone who knows what they're doing. Get this man out of here. The board at Arsenal said we're going to stick with him. We're supporting him, and look what he's done.
Yeah,
and now they're in first. And again,
he needs depth. That's the next thing.
They do need a little bit more depth because 2 or 3 injuries, as Nate said, that's what United's struggling with right now. Right? They had a suspension for Fernandez, Jadon Sancho, Anthony. You mentioned someone else injured.
Rafael Varane.
Varane, another star out of the World Cup. The United struggling with injuries right now. If that happens to Arsenal, they could hit that slide. Rod Sana, soccer world guy,
so
huge Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
He's loving it right now.
So
with where they're at.
It's nice to see them there because it's been a while.
It is.
If they've been in like 5th, 6th, 7th, around there for Europa League. But it's nice to have a change.
We'll let Nate have a say here, but I don't think any of us believe with Man City in the league
Exactly.
that Arsenal's going to win it.
Exactly.
Arsenal I think the best they can do is finish second because we all think Man City's going to go and do what they do. Nate,
Not
go ahead.
taking it away from Arsenal. I think they'll finish top 4. But the one game that they were supposed to play against City got canceled.
Yeah, that was
And that will be the game when they play City, when they have to, that they're probably going to get thunderclapped. And then it'll probably be a trickle downhill.
I don't know.
Man United went out and figured them out real quick. And they beat them 3-1.
Yep.
Right? And that's Man United. And United's not as good as City. Period.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea has problems right now. I think Graham Potter is in over his head. I think he's got a bunch of personalities and has never dealt with these personalities like this before.
Yep.
And that's why you're seeing the results and the outcomes and the reactions from some of these players.
Yep.
And that's a problem. And that was the issue. That's always the issue of taking someone from a lower club, David Moyes, and then sticking them up into a big club with big personalities and multi-billion-dollar players that, prima donnas almost. If they don't know how to navigate them, you're going to have a bit of an issue.
There are only so many coaches that can handle those types of players. The tough part is, unless you're a Pep Guardiola or a Hansi Flick or just someone that can teach them new things. I mean, you got to think about those guys. They've been playing the game the same way with their same style, and they've, Zidane or whatever has taught them, some stuff from Real Madrid or wherever they came from. There's only so many new things you can teach players, but I feel like Pep Guardiola teaches something new to a player every year he gets the player, which is crazy.
There's a reason star players from around the world want to play for Pep Guardiola and are okay sitting on the bench for a couple of games.
So,
they're okay with it.
Yes. So there was an interesting thing I read about Niko Kovac when he went from Frankfurt to Munich, and he did really well at Frankfurt, and then he went to Munich and then crapped the bed and then actually got fired. And the players basically almost revolted against him. And it was the little things that he did that just, pissed them off, And
Guardiola?
it was... What?
Guardiola?
No, it was Niko Kovac.
Oh, Kovac.
So it was after Guardiola, but before Hansi Flick and before. So he came in.
It was the old dude, the guy that used to be there, right?
No. He came from Frankfurt, and then they fired him, and then they got the old guy in.
The old coach.
Yeah. And then he actually won the league and
yes, he did. He did
so,
really well.
But Kovac during that short tenure, basically systematically turned every player, off just by little things he did, by not respecting certain players by giving them a sending off match and stuff like that. Yeah. And the thing of it is he came from Frankfurt and he was doing well, and this was his first big club experience, and he tried to manage the big club like how he managed the little club, and it blew up. So again, there's something there where you need to make sure when you're jumping in, it's more than just coaching; it's also managing players at that level.
Man management does not get enough credit within this.
You have to.
Especially when you deal with bigger clubs.
We've talked about this before. When you manage superstars, it's all about man management. You're not going to teach these guys many new things that they don't already know. So if you're going to go in there and be like, you're doing this, you're doing that, this is why I don't like the idea where you have superstars that you pigeonhole them into things. Like my thing with Ten Hag. I think he pigeonhole people sometimes when you have superstars. When coaches try to do this, unless you're Guardiola and respected, and they see that when you do all this stuff that it actually works, when you pigeonhole them, it turns them off and they don't want to play.
Yeah, but I think Ten Hag, though, is respected.
He needs time. We've talked about
this. No, but I
this.
think he is respected because Casemiro actually flat out said that he never dealt with someone, and this is a guy who came from Real Madrid, who is that intense and that passionate and wanting to win. Yes. Real quick, VJ is glad that Craig Hearn doesn't look like death.
Yes, and Glenn Hearn thinks Arsenal will win the league.
And Glenn Hearn
Glenn's crazy. Glenn's crazy.
Because he's a relative?
Glenn Hearn is drinking moonshine tonight and is partially blind. But we love him.
Oh, boy.
I told him it's possible. I think it can happen. Not my Seagulls, Arsenal.
All right, boys. I do want to share with you. Let's chat. Actually, you know what? Why don't we finish up EPL? Let's go through the EPL stuff real quick, and then I want to get to the LAFC Philadelphia Union game.
No one saw that outcome ever happening.
I don't think anybody
No
saw
one
that
did.
coming. That was
It was completely blindsided by
Last
all
year's
reports.
MLS Cup for NYCFC in Portland was crazy. It was 1-1, but just
Yep.
the craziness of how it finished. And then this one just topped it even more.
Yes.
Yeah,
No one saw.
But
12 out of
This
27 have gone to extra time, which
when these two teams played, I don't know if you guys probably didn't watch it. I remember this game clearly. When Philly went to LAFC before COVID happened, it was the last match before COVID canceled everything.
I don't remember.
That was a crazy game. I mean, Jacob Glesnes had one hell of a free kick. I think Philly Union came out of the 3-2, 4-3 win, and that game went up and down a lot. So, I mean, when these two teams play, they get up and down, and it was crazy.
Yeah,
but
it was.
One last chat before we get into this. Glenn Hearn has signified that we are number one. And yes, you're right, Glenn Hearn. That is the emoji for us being the number one soccer podcast within this area. You are right, sir, and I appreciate the shout out. We are number one.
I think the number
Thank
one
you.
was for you two. I agreed with him.
Number one. Well,
Yes.
I mean, we're all number one.
We are.
In your hearts.
Yes.
And in your minds.
Well,
Yes.
do us a favor, guys. If you're watching online, no matter where you're watching, do us a favor. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a share. We'd very much appreciate it. Let's finish up the scores. Obviously, Villa beat Man United 3-1 from Villa Park. Again, Arsenal top Chelsea 1-0 at Stamford Bridge. Leeds 4, Bournemouth 3. Jesse Marsh lives another game.
Jesse Marsh in his tight pants lived for another game.
Oh yeah, the
Jesus.
tight ends, but I'm
I
telling
think he had the tightest pants in the Premier League. And I thought Pep
he's
Guardiola
getting
had
the
some
job
tight
done.
pants.
He's getting the job done. They beat
Yeah.
Liverpool 2-1,
Yeah.
and now at the last, the death last week, and now topping Bournemouth 4-3. His job is on the line. We all know this, but he's getting the job done. Patty, our friend in England, a huge Leeds supporter, sent me something where the Leeds fans are chanting something for the Americans, and it's great to see the Americans.
My prediction: he's going to celebrate so hard one time he splits his pants. Yes,
I can't wait. I can't wait.
I know.
You might. Other games this weekend: Man City 2, Fulham 1. In that game, this is the crazy stat. João Cancelo was sent off. The last 4 Man City players to be sent off were all born in the year 1994, and on the day of May 27th or May 28th.
Wow.
The last 4 players.
Wow, what's Pep Guardiola? He's like, now I got to get players that have the same birth date and same birth year. This
That's
is
nutty.
crazy.
The last 4 Man City players to be sent off are have the same within 2 days and the same birthdays. That's nutty. Erling Haaland comes in to steal the game win for Man City 2-1. Erling Haaland, death, taxes, and Erling Haaland scoring. 3 things you can count on. Again, Man City go down to man. Still dominated. Still did very well. Fulham did well though. Tim Ream. Tim Ream played against Man City, and he played well. I was impressed. And you know what he did really well? Passed out of the back. He controlled the ball. He didn't just hoof it away. He passed the ball around, all at 34 years old. And guess what? He's probably not going to be on the U.S. men's national team roster that comes and drops this Wednesday. Boys, are you as disappointed as me about that? Because damn it, someone like that, Fulham captain, by the way, needs to be on the squad.
Well, it
We
depends
don't
on
know.
what.
We don't know, but he hasn't been in the last couple of squads. You think it's some sort of secret, Greg Berhalter?
Yeah, he's probably like, he's a shoo-in. I just don't want him to get hurt or something.
Nate, I think you and I are on the same page.
He's not
here.
getting called in.
He's
He
not
does
getting
default.
called in.
So he should. Well, so the question is what are you trying to do, and what is your major goal? And we can argue that, but the problem is we're kind of being bipolar in what we're saying that we're trying to do, and then what we're actually doing. You know
We
what
got to
I mean?
hold this for later, though, for when we discuss this.
Yeah. Let's hold that discussion.
We were fired up before the show. We got to keep that fire.
All right,
lit.
we'll get back to that one.
Yeah.
Let's finish up the EPL here. Obviously, the last one we just talked about: Man City 2, Fulham 1, Nottingham Forest 2, Brentford 2, Ivan Toney scoring again, Wolves 2, Brighton Hove Albion, your Seagulls 3. They win again.
Yes.
Wolves in the bottom
Right
2.
behind
there.
Man United.
They are not doing very well. Frank Lampard and Everton 0. Brendan Rodgers and Leicester City 2. I know Stephen Aversa is a big Leicester City fan, the Foxes fan. Brendan Rodgers piling up the points every week, and 3 more points over Everton. I think Frank Lampard could be out of a job come the World Cup break. because they are right now on the bottom half of the table, and they do not want to be there after the money they've been spending. Southampton 1, Newcastle 4. Newcastle just keep winning. I'm going to tell you right now, they are probably going to finish in the top 4, and I think it might be one of the big boys like Liverpool who finished outside of that top 4 this year.
Liverpool is struggling, so that's
very
not really a revelation.
Oh, not really a revelation. But they did win again today. They won 2-1 over Tottenham. Mo Salah finally finding his scoring boots in the last couple of weeks with a brace there. Liverpool looked good today, actually. I don't know if Liverpool looked good or Tottenham didn't look good, but Tottenham liked to invite pressure and then break out. They did not do so well today in that game. Harry Kane scoring a goal for Tottenham, as he does. We just need to shut him down. Can we shut him down, put him in cotton wool and bubble wrap, and not let him play again until the World Cup?
So we is Craig, because he is all Team England.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when Craig says we.
All the viewers know I'm Team England.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Even with
just
this
don't
American,
confuse it with the German over here and the American.
Yeah, with this American.
and
passport.
the
I
Polish
am
guy.
rooting for America.
So here's the deal.
It's England.
Here's the deal. So I will insinuate this several times. Who won the bracket challenge? Just out of curiosity.
The MLS bracket challenge.
Yes. Who won it?
You did.
You
Okay.
did.
And I was deadly accurate too in that final end. But here's why.
Did you?
No,
pick
here's
the
why.
winners
Let me
out of that
explain.
hat you're wearing?
I'm gonna explain something just for 5 seconds.
How's this relevant to what we're talking
It
about?
will be just
Okay.
if you just give me a second.
All right.
This is why Craig and I are going to fail in all World Cup predictions, and Brooks is going to be smarter than us because he has no dog or pony or anything in the race. We're going to overthink the shit and somehow manage. You're going to be like, England's going to win it all, and here's why. And I'm going to be like, Germany's going to win it all, and here's why. And Brooks is going to be like, yeah, it's Senegal or something weird, like something like actual logical, like when you step back at the end of the day and look at it and go, oh, yeah. And that's basically, and we'll get into that later, but that's why Brooks will win the MLS or the World Cup bracket.
That's why I never win MLS Cup Challenge.
Yeah, because you're
gonna win.
You're overthinking it, and I'm just like drawing from a hat, and then it's going to be the total reversal. It's going to be total reversal when it comes from the World Cup, and 9 times out of 10, you would be right in every aspect. Logically and smartly when it comes to the MLS bracket versus how I picked my teams.
It's a lot like the NCAA tournament, right? Where you fill out the bracket and who wins.
Yes.
It's always the guy that doesn't watch as much college
It's the guy or the
basketball.
girl
Yes.
who picks based on the colors of the school.
Or the mascot.
Yeah, I'll let you know how I came up with every one of my right picks, and you guys are going to be so pissed off at me. It's not even funny.
No, we know. Out of the picks out of the hat.
No, there was logic
Yeah.
behind it, not
Logic.
soccer-related
I think
logic.
you just told you asked your kids who do you like better. And
No. There is absolute logic with all of my picks, and we can just boil it down to the last 4 that I got absolutely deadly right, and I can tell you how I came up with those, and you're just gonna be so mad.
We will when we discuss this here in a second.
All right, last score from the Premiership this weekend. West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 2. Patrick Vieira getting a nice win there down against London. So very well done there. Why don't we quickly show the table here? We got the EPL table, as you can see. Arsenal, as we talked about, still top with 34 points after 13 games. Man City closely behind by 2 points in 13 games as well. Newcastle played 14 in third now with 27. Tottenham still there. Man United still in 5th. The Seagulls down in 6th. Chelsea dropped to 7th. Graham Potter has taken over that team and they're dropping. Liverpool up to 8th on 19 points. Fulham, newly promoted Fulham, up in 9th. Crystal Palace, Brentford, Leeds after their nice win over Brentford in the 12th. Villa popped there in the 13th with 3 more points. Leicester City and Brendan Rodgers moving up. Still big surprise to see West Ham so low with only 14 points after 14 games. And there's Everton, wouldn't you know it, dropping again. Bournemouth, Southampton, Wolves, and Forest. I think we all expect Forest to do the drop this year. They brought in 23 new players. You're never gonna do well when you bring in 23 new players in the summer.
So Frank Lampard's going to get fired at some point?
Oh, Frank Lampard's getting fired, I think, in the next, probably before January 1st. He needs to get a couple of victories. If they don't win one of the next 2 games, he's gone before the World Cup. He's absolutely gone. I think Wolves are going to go as well. And Southampton,
They already hired Lopetegui.
Ralph
Wolves.
Hasenhüttl will be let go very soon as well, and they could find their way out of the league.
Yeah.
So yes, It's yeah. Excuse me. Still a little bit under the weather, boys. All right. LAFC are your MLS Cup Final champions. What a game. I was enthralled with this game from start to finish. Philadelphia Union tried to muck it up a little bit. A lot of fouls like they did in the semifinal, but this was up and down, back and forth. I'm very impressed. Again, from my standpoint, the big winner was MLS. I thought this game, everybody I talked to online or talked to in person thought, yeah, the MLS is the big winner because this is a very entertaining game. There was some great skill on hand. This was not your typical MLS game with poor touches, kick and run. There was some good goals scored. I will say the one player who didn't impress me was Muriel, the center back for LAFC. Couldn't find a pass, couldn't do anything out of the back. Only thing he was good at was in the air and winning headers.
He scored one goal.
I know. I put it on the Facebook comment page that said, this guy is crap. I've never seen a worse professional. 10 minutes later, he pops up with a goal. So there's my little curse. Shows you know what I'm talking about. But he couldn't find anybody's feet to save his life. We do want to talk about the LAFC goalie, Crepeau. Now, he's Canadian. Is he the backup or the starter for the
backup? He was the backup for the Canadian.
He unfortunately will not be making the World Cup because of it was so poor. And I give Fox a lot of credit for this, by the way, for not showing the replay. Poor back pass from his defender. He had to come out. He unfortunately did not get the ball. The defender, the forward, onrushing forward, and him collided. His leg went in the wrong direction. Both bones snapped. It was so badly broken that when the trainer came out, he popped a towel over his leg, and you can see that he was in a lot of pain. They called for the helicopter right away, the medical helicopter. That was, that was a very badly broken leg. The only real downside of this game. Gareth Bale coming in, and Gareth Bale doing what Gareth Bale does, and Nate, Brooks, and myself pretty much all at the same time said, oh, here comes Gareth Bale. Guess what? Guess who's going to score either the winning goal or the goal to tie this up? And what did Gareth Bale do? Tied it up.
Yep. I said that actually when he was warming up before he actually went on the field.
He was the first one, and then I kind of concurred with him that he's going to do this.
I said he's going to come in and he's going to score because that's what's going to happen.
Were you guys as enthralled in this game, as entertained as I was? I could not get my eyes off this game.
I have never seen a bad MLS final, and I still hold to it.
Yeah. Probably the worst one, I think, was Seattle TFC, like when it was in Toronto, because it was so cold.
Oh,
but even that
terrible.
was really exciting, though, like in PKs and at the end. No, this was a good one. This is what MLS needed to do. The problem is you put it on a Saturday where there's college football.
Yeah, I don't like
that's
the time.
The problem. But there's not really a good time because if you throw it on Sunday, it's like, whoa, in the middle of the day, it's NFL,
which we know is a
Friday
juggernaut
night,
here in the USA.
The best thing to do, maybe. Well, maybe it might be, because there's not really college football on or NFL. So, but I thought if you want entertainment, you wanted goals, you wanted physicality. Both teams actually played. And listen, Philadelphia doesn't play the sexiest soccer in the world, but when they get into the other opponent's final third, then they start to play a little more. They're not going to be like play through. We're not going to play through Jose Martinez and go. He was really poor. He was poor yesterday too, Jose Martinez for Philadelphia. But I think people, if they can go back and watch this game, go back and watch it. And people that shit on MLS, who don't think MLS is of the par or good. I'm not saying it's EPL. I'm not saying it's a top tier La Liga. I'm not saying if you threw an MLS team like LAFC into the EPL or La Liga or whatnot that they would, finish top half of the table. But MLS has come very far from where they started 25 years ago, and this league is only growing. There's going to be 30 teams, we found out. I think there'll be more than 30 at some point. I think there'll be 30.
Because money trumps everything.
No,
exactly.
Garber said they're stopping at 30.
That doesn't mean anything.
He said it's about the game.
No, it's.
He said
we can debate that another day, boys.
Yeah.
We can debate that another day.
I'm just saying though, MLS is like they interviewed Jim Curtin. They said he's like 2025, 2026, like they want to be at one of the top leagues.
Sure.
That may be too quick. Maybe 2030 or close to 2030. Maybe that's possible. But the league's growing. There's more money flowing in. There's going to be more European, South American players that maybe want a better life that want to come over to America because everyone wants to immigrate into America. So there are a lot of potential possibilities for MLS to be a very
absolutely
good league.
100%. I will say there was Tell me something that wasn't in that game yesterday. We had goals, we had red cards, we had injuries, unfortunately, overtime, penalty kicks.
Saves.
And penalty saves. And I did hear a rumor that Jack Elliott was actually about to be announced as the MVP until Gareth Bale popped up over his shoulder and headed that ball into the back of the net to tie it up.
Yeah.
And then we all know the story from there. Again, this game had everything. The big winner was us as fans and the MLS, because that just showcased everything that league has.
Yeah.
Physicality.
Liga MX is scared.
It was
Liga MX is afraid because that's
absolutely.
why they're trying to
the
build
MLS
this.
is worth a lot more.
It's that, but also is the problem with Liga MX is they're so keen on most of the clubs only signing players of Mexican descent. A lot of the teams they don't sign on internationals and such. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's only so much you can do. Then the top Mexican players go play in La Liga or in the Portugal, or they go over to or Bundesliga or whatever. Like MLS is catching up, and I mean, I'm very curious to see how Seattle do in the FIFA Club World Cup. If it's not against the Champions League winner or just whoever. I just want to see how they compete and. Hopefully it's in real competition now. It's not against these friendlies they pick up every once in a while with the EPL teams coming over. So I would like to see more integration with MLS playing some type of competitions with maybe it's not EPL but like Scottish Premier League or something. Where you're seeing them play other leagues to get a good justification and eye of where the talent is with MLS.
It would be interesting to see LAFC or Philadelphia Union play against, I don't want to say a premiership team or maybe a championship team in a real game to see the level that you can be at. But unfortunately, that's never going to happen because
there's too much soccer.
We're light years away from that. Everybody's playing
too much soccer. Like, when do you play?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
We did have a very good friend of the show on the field. One. MLS champion, World Cup probably participant.
Go ahead, you
Captain of my MLS fantasy team that I will then start. The hey, if you're building a team.
Yes, I know that, but you picked both of them technically.
So.
Well, yes, Kellen Acosta and let me see if we can.
Can we rewind back to the show where Nate said LAFC was going to win, and a big part of that was going to be Kellen Acosta because Kellen Acosta is the man, and
because he got deflected the wrong way by Jack McGlynn into the goal.
Goal's a goal.
Goal's a goal.
Goal's a goal.
And also, that new little secret about the Hearn bounce.
Ooh, exactly.
The Hearn bounce.
Yes.
Let the other pros know.
Let the other pros know if you want to succeed.
If you want to win,
you come on We Are Soccer and get interviewed by us.
Statistically speaking, the one pro that you have had on has won more after being on your show than ever before.
You're not wrong, Nate.
I am not wrong.
Gold star.
Yep.
Gold star.
Yep.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yep.
All right.
Just saying.
We did have very good friend of the show, Next Level Training superstar. Let me bring up the, here we go. Here's congratulations to the MLS Cup champions, LAFC right there. But, good friend of our show, Aaron Bird, look at this. With Kellen Acosta, our good friend Kellen Acosta, our good friend Aaron Bird on the field. He took some pictures yesterday and he sent me, I said, man, you got great seats. He goes, seats? I never sat down. I was on the field the whole time. I was like, good Lord. So here he is afterwards with Kellen Acosta.
So technically, because Aaron Bird knows my name, and I know Aaron Bird's, he's like,
it's
hey,
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon here. But Nate,
he knows me, and so by proxy,
Kevin Bacon knows you?
Probably.
I don't know. Maybe does he know Aaron Bird?
Kellen Acosta?
Or Kellen Acosta. So by proxy, doesn't that make me like best friends with Kellen Acosta? I think it does.
I think it does.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let that play.
Oh, and by the way, here he is with Cellini. I mean, how awesome is that? Oh, and we got one more. Oh, Champions League winner, bicycle kick Champions League goal scorer, Mr. Gareth Bale, who scored the game-tying goal yesterday. I have also seen, which I do not have in my possession at the moment, but I have seen a picture of Aaron in the locker room afterwards with LAFC owner Will Ferrell.
I'm just hoping he grabbed a lot of free stuff. Anyways, but interesting thing about Bale before we get off this. You realize since leaving Tottenham, that somebody posted this.
Oh, I saw
He's
that.
won a championship
Everywhere.
yes. every year, except the one year
When
he
he's
went
on
back
loan.
to
Yes,
Tottenham.
I saw that.
He's won a championship every single year, some sort of trophy every single year, except for the one, which would have been 2 years ago where
He's
he
going
went
back to
back.
Tottenham.
Yes,
yeah.
correct.
Ooh, Tottenham. Oh, you failed him.
Since leaving Tottenham, he's won every year. He won a trophy every year since
He's a
leaving
serial
Tottenham,
winner.
except the one year when he went back to Tottenham. Ouch.
I did not realize that.
Mm-hmm.
The man wins. If you want to win a trophy, you just need to have Gareth Bale in your team.
Yes.
Unless you're Tottenham.
Unless you're Tottenham.
Yeah.
Tottenham, you're out. So anybody
Sorry.
else but Tottenham. That is awesome. All right, we got a couple minutes left before we take a break. One of the items I want to talk about is there's some documentaries dropping this week. We talked last week about the FIFA documentary that's dropping this week, where they're coming out. It's dropping, I believe, Wednesday, the same day the U.S. men's national team and all World Cup teams' rosters drop, the 9th of November. It's dropping. Also, the documentary about FIFA and the corruption is on Netflix. There's a reason Netflix is dropping this documentary 11 days before the World Cup, and then on the same day that the World Cup rosters are dropping, because they want maximum exposure. And I'm telling you, I think it's going to be good. Qatar is not going to be happy. Nate?
There's also the Men in Blazers podcast on the similar thing about the FIFA corruption as well. So they have that I think it's already
Sports
released.
Center, E60's coming out with
by
something
Wondery.
too.
Ooh.
So yeah, there's a lot
Everyone's
of
invested
this stuff
in
going on
Qatar.
right now.
Yeah, everybody's trying to capitalize right now.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, once the World Cup is finished, we got a champion, we've all watched, we're all so happy because, hey, we watched soccer. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming out. There's going to be right now there's a lot of people, players, national teams, they're buttoned. They're buttoning their lips because they do not want to be spit upon or kicked out of this tournament. They are going in, they want to win because it is a tournament. It is the biggest soccer game, the biggest soccer tournament in the world. They're keeping their mouths closed. As soon as this tournament is finished, I guarantee you will have nations and you will have players coming out and talking about the stuff that they disagree with, what happened, the things they found out. It's going to be interesting to see what happens after it's done. Netflix and ESPN, E60, I mean, good for them for dropping these documentaries beforehand. Again, they want maximum exposure, but I hope we see some of the downright absolute shit corruption that this organization has put people through and how many people have died because of it. Will it make any difference to us who are going to be watching? Sadly, no. A lot of us will still be watching this. We've had this disagreement before on the show. I think this is going to be the most watched World Cup ever. One or two of the boys think it's not. That we can debate at another time.
That's me.
That we can debate at another time.
Hello.
I will.
Bye.
Yep. Hi.
Here.
Nate disagrees with me on that, and that's okay. Just a difference of opinion, of thinking. I will say, and I'll say it again, I've said it before, I think the England versus USA match is going to be the sporting event, the biggest sporting event of the past 10 years for the next 10 years. I don't think there will be a bigger game than England versus USA. It's just such a gigantic game that's dropping on Black Friday.
You understand there's other countries besides the United States and England that watch this, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, just want to make sure before you...
But when tickets for the World Cup went on sale and people got to pick games that they wanted to buy tickets for, that game
outsold.
There were outsold. There were more people vying for the tickets of that game than anything else in this tournament.
Yeah, and USA and England and Germany actually are predominant World Cup ticket buyers. Do you want to know why?
Because we have the most money?
Yes.
Oh, I get
so
it.
when
Yeah,
it comes
absolutely.
to watching on a TV, that's a little bit of a different story because you don't have to pay for that.
Wherever you can.
Exactly. So there's a difference between filling a stadium and watching a game.
I'm going to raise my hand and say the most watched league in the world is the Premiership. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows those stars, and everybody seems to love the England team. From if you're in China, you love the England league and the England players. Yeah. So they got followers there.
Yeah, in England, the Premiership is only full of English players, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
Absolutely not.
so that argument's now over. And now we're going to move on because,
Hence why I
your
said
stars
England.
in the Premier League, Ernie Holland, your stars in the Premier League, Kun Aguero, your stars in the Premier League. Do you want me to keep going on? They ain't English.
Well, Aguero's not there anymore.
Well, I know. I'm just saying in general in the years past.
So Kevin De Bruyne.
Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Never heard
Should
of
we
it.
go on?
Yeah.
Mo Salah, where is he from?
Yeah.
He's from Bucky.
Sane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Van
just-
Dijk.
Yeah. So, sorry. No.
Do you want to make a bet that that's going to be the most watched game of the World Cup?
Over the final?
Well, I don't want to say.
Oh, okay, and you're
I think
walking
it will.
it back. So
I think
you're
it
already
will.
walking
I think
it
it'll
back.
top
So
the final.
group
I think
play
it'll top the
match.
final.
Group play match?
Yeah.
Group play match.
Name me a bigger game in group
Japan
play.
and Germany.
That's going to be a good game.
So looking forward to that one.
You know, I'm
Samurai never
trying to
disappoint.
think offhand of some of the group play matches that are really good because Spain and Germany will be a solid group play match.
Absolutely.
So it all depends on
Absolutely.
when you talk about group play match, it all depends on who's going to sync up with who. If you're talking about overall, there's no way that will be the most watched because the final will beat that out. I don't care. Even if I'm wrong and this happens to be the most watched World Cup ever, blah blah blah. There's no way that match over the final is going to win out. It's not going to happen.
I think it'll be close.
It's not.
I think it'll be
It's not
really close.
because as you go up, the people who are in tune to the World Cup around the world are going to be focused in on more singular games because there will be less games to watch. So no, it won't be. Now group stage,
If-
That's
we'll
why I
see.
said group stage because
Yeah,
when it
that's it.
comes to there's always good matchups when you.
Well, because
add in
there's
group play.
there's a story there, and everyone knows that there's a story there. And when you can write
Well, it
a
all
story,
goes back to it all goes back to 1776.
Yeah, I mean,
and
it all
England
goes
and
back-
United States, and
Yeah.
we kicked their butt, and then they've been friends, and
Yeah, it all goes back to the random draw that keeps happening between England and the USA at a randomized
and
basis.
the craziness with
Yeah.
Robert Greene and
How
us beating them.
how
before. Yeah.
USA somehow always manages somehow every so often
To beat England.
play England randomized. That's nothing going on there.
Corruption at its finest.
How
Again.
dare you? The
Why?
people who
Because it's a
run.
big game.
Wait a minute. Stop. The people who run FIFA.
If
They're
it was
not
really
corrupt.
corruption, they would play every World Cup
Yeah.
in the same group.
They're not corrupt.
If they got the most money from that in most
They're
years.
not. Their only interest, just like MLS, is to grow the game globally. Guys, come on. Are you serious? Are you serious? You're gonna tell me that there is shady stuff with Qatar going on?
And there's shady
Lies!
stuff. And there's shady stuff in the Premier League too,
Huh?
right?
What?
Yeah.
No.
UEFA Champions League as
Never.
well? No? I know,
This would
right?
never happen.
I know.
I am shocked. How dare you?
Yes.
Other documentaries
Where are
dropping
my
this
pearls?
week on Disney. David Beckham goes back and links up with the youth team that he first started his soccer career at.
Disney was like, this is the perfect thing for
Oh!
us.
I'm really looking forward to it, to be honest. Hold the show. What's going on, Nate?
Stop! Everyone stop! VJ! Happens to agree with me. VJ comes in. Finally, someone who sees eye to eye. How will this be the most watched World Cup? Question. The fact they change when it's being played. Hold on. VJ, stop for a second. Stop saying shit. Change being played will be a huge factor in who's watching. Thank you, VJ. I said the same thing.
He said not as bad as the German league, laugh out loud.
How dare you? I'm ignoring that last comment.
This will be the most watched World Cup ever, and then the next one will be the most watched there, and so forth and so on. All right, other documentaries that are dropping.
Can't
The
wait to
David
be right on
Beckham
this.
documentary on Disney, so you know it's going to have a good-hearted feel to it. But
Always.
But it does look like it's going to be a good documentary. It looks like it's going to be really good. It's a series of shows where he goes back and helps his youth team in London. I believe they're from a poor area, and he puts a lot of money, he puts a lot of time in, and it does look like a good one. The other one that dropped this week that I believe is coming out in the next week or two, the trailer dropped this week, Good Rivals from Grant Whale. That is on Amazon Prime. That looks like it's going to be a really good documentary. It's about the USA versus Mexico documentary. I don't know about you boys, but I'm really looking forward to that.
What is this? I missed this one. What's this?
You
on?
didn't see? Oh, all right.
Well, where's it releasing on now?
It's based on the USA versus Mexico rivalry that's happened over the past couple of decades.
It's 24th of November. It's supposed to come
24th
out.
of November.
And it's coming out where?
They put this documentary in the middle of the World Cup?
What else would Grant Wall do?
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
like
wait
that
a minute,
wall.
Now I remember this one. You brought this one up.
shared
Yeah,
with
you
this
brought this one up. Yeah.
The trailer did look very good. I do want to watch it, but I'm not watching it in the middle of the World Cup. That's no. But it does look good. There's a lot of big players in it from both sides, both countries, and they're talking about the friendliness of the rivalry, but also the battles that took place and the other things will go along with the rivalry. It'll be a good one. I don't like that it's being done by Grant Whale. I'm not a huge fan of his. Everything
Grant
seems
Wall.
to center around it. Yeah, whatever his name is. Everything centers around him, but I don't.
He
really
didn't
like that.
stutter. Grant's Whale.
Yeah, Whale. Wow. I don't read anything he
The
puts
Wailing
out.
Wall.
I've actually unfollowed him. But anyway, all right. Lots to get to. Why don't we hit our break here, guys? We're gonna go for a couple of minutes. We're gonna get a new drink. You guys do the same. We will be back shortly. Join us in a couple on the other side of this little break.
Change tempo, yes, drop out, good. Yes, touch play, right foot, yes. Scan, good. Touch in, play, drop your hip, right, yes, good scan. Yes. Jay, well done. Good side on touch. Play, see it, yes.
All right, guys, welcome back. Appreciate everybody watching online, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. Do us a favor, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a share, do something, interact, put a question, put a comment, we'll answer. Appreciate you guys watching the greatest online soccer show there is. Some of those that might have been made up, I don't know. Anyway, one of the items we like to do here every week, got to make sure I have the graphic correct, is the Team of the Week. Brought to you by We Are Soccer and Michigan Soccer Central. This week's Team of the Week, local university for us here, is the Madonna University men's team. They currently, let me find my notes, coached by Mark Zathy and Jeff Shook, both great friends of the show, both good dudes and great soccer coaches. They have led Madonna men's team to the 15-0-3 mark. They haven't lost this year. They have 3 draws, 15 wins. That's crazy. I don't care what league you're in. I don't care who you have on your team, who you're playing against. 15-0-3, that's nuts. Well done, Mark. Well done, Jeff, and the boys, the men's team, at Madonna University. Brooks, I know you know a little bit about this team and what they've done this year.
Yeah.
That's a great mark, 15-0-3, man, from Madonna University men's team, local to us here.
Yeah, no, Madonna, I mean, being former assistant coach at Lawrence Tech University, the WAC is a tough conference, and there's no easy game, even if you're a bottom-tier team playing a mid- to top-tier team. So credit to Mark Zathy and Shook and the Madonna men's soccer team. Couple of just stats here. Just Jordy Lopez for Madonna, 10 goals, 4 assists, and then Rayada Nakajima, 9 goals and 5 assists for them, some of their top stats leaders. So, and Madonna, it looks like they're kind of getting goals from everyone this year. So they beat their first round match. They beat Santa Heights 5-0, and now they're going to play Aquinas on Wednesday at 2 p.m. for the WAC semifinal, and if they win, they'll probably host the number one seed. So a little extra info on Madonna men's soccer for you.
Cool.
I heard a rumor, aren't they supposed to be getting a soccer-specific stadium or something cool like that?
Just a rumor. We're not quite
Just a
sure
rumor.
yet. We've heard that rumor. It's going to take a while to get built, and it ain't going to get done in the middle of the winter, I can tell you that. Again, congratulations to this week's Team of the Week, the Madonna University men's team. Good luck coming up in your tournaments, boys. All right, lots more to get to. One of the things we've mentioned several times during the show today, the U.S. men's team roster. Every roster is getting dropped this Wednesday. We're mostly focused right now on the U.S. men's national team. Greg Berhalter, will he be picking some of the players that we feel he should pick? A la Joseph Scally, a la Jordan Pivac, a la Tim Ream. Probably not going to pick any of those, but we'll see. Brooks has put together a list for us who he thinks is going to be on that 26-man squad. The squad has been expanded this year because it is during the season, whatever. So it is going to get expanded a little bit. Nate, looked like you want to say something important.
Just to preface, this isn't the guys that Brooks would take. This is Brooks putting on his Greg Berhalter brain and thinking like the tactical genius.
This is that, but I also expand even further into some of the younger guys in the U20 and U23s that maybe people think should or have been talked about to join the national team that I think they're not ready or they're not good enough as well. So this is the brain part of Berhalter, this first part, but then we'll dip in a little bit to what I know or what I've seen from some of these guys to say, hey, what about this guy? Well, maybe not now, but later he's not good enough for one.
Okay,
so
I'm intrigued. Yeah. Color me intrigued, Brooks.
Yes.
I will say I am very, I'm scared that you're going to try put on Greg Berhalter's brain and try pick like he would and do as he would, because I would love to see what the inner workings of his brain has because of who he has not picked in the last couple of months. Let's say the last 12 months. Yeah. All right, fire away. How are you going to start? Were you starting up top? Are you starting in the back? What are we doing?
Back to front.
Back to front. All right, so we're going with goalies right off the bat.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay. So goalkeepers. I think the 3 are obvious. Turner, Matt Turner,
Yep.
Sean Johnson, and Zach Steffen. And none of these guys are in particular order. I'm just listing off guys.
Okay. Do we want to talk about who we think should start?
Do we want to? Okay. I mean, do you want to get into that?
Maybe only, to be honest, this is the position, and then the striker position for me are the two that I'd like to debate who starts. Obviously, there's only three, right?
Yeah.
Johnson, Turner, and Steffen.
Yes.
We know Turner is the backup at Arsenal, has been playing in some of those matches, some of the cup matches. Ramsdale's the number one there, but Turner, when he has come in, has played phenomenal.
Yes.
Steffen has gone to Middlesbrough. He's doing okay.
He's had a knee injury. He's not played all the time.
He's been injured. He had a back injury.
Yeah.
Again, for me, it's Turner, but I'm any one of those will work for me.
I think Sean Johnson, because Matt Turner has been hurt a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think Sean Johnson has every right to compete up until the first match for him to be the starting goalkeeper.
MLS.
Because of what he has done the last 2 years with NYCFC and how much he has improved since leaving the Chicago Fire and joining NYCFC, I think he has every right to compete with Matt Turner for that starting position.
So you're dropping.
And I don't think they're far off those two.
You're dropping Steffen to third choice.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I remember watching Zach Steffen at Maryland. I thought he was an athlete that had a very tough time with the ball at his feet, and everyone's always improved. He's not comfortable with the ball at his feet. And he makes very silly errors, and it was very common with him at the University of Maryland to misjudge balls off the line, aerial balls. And he does that all the time. And I think just because he had success at Columbus, and everyone's like, oh, he's the backup of Man City. He gets to play against superstars, and he's all good. Goalkeeper, I was a goalkeeper. It means shit. You have to get actual minutes and play in actual games to get experience. It doesn't matter if you're a practice keeper playing against top players.
100% agree with you. Now, I'm going to ask you, and I want one-word answers here. Greg Berhalter, game coming up, November 21st against Wales, your first game. Who are you starting in goal? Greg Berhalter.
So if I'm Greg Berhalter and I have the Greg Berhalter hat on,
yep.
Turner.
Right now, who are you starting?
Turner.
Okay.
Because he started the most of the games for me.
Greg Berhalter goes down. Brooks gets inserted as coach of U.S. men's national team. Give me your starter. Give me one name. Who's starting for you, and not as Greg Berhalter, as Brooks Lambier. Who is starting in goal for you?
Sean Johnson.
Sean Johnson. All right. Nate, your thoughts. I think you and I are going to be on the same page.
You're going to pick an MLS goalkeeper over some of the other guys that play international? Go for it. I think you're overrating MLS a little bit, my opinion. Sorry. I think there's a...
So you're going to say those are two backups that essentially don't play very much, and they're just practice keepers, and compared to a guy that's pretty much helped NYFC be a top team in MLS for the past couple of years, plus compete in CONCACAF Champions League, and he really hasn't had his fair share, honestly, of matches when he's been called in, to be honest with you. He's more athletic than Matt Turner. He's a bigger body. He can go up against those bigger players for other teams, and he's shown that he can make big saves when it comes to PKs or in matches in general, and he's better with his feet than both the other keepers.
He hasn't done very well for the men's national team, and yes, he's an MLS goalkeeper. And no, I would not start him over. I wouldn't start him over Zach Steffen. Sorry.
So, all right, Nate, I'm going to ask you the same question I gave Brooks. Greg Berhalter, you're in his head right now, or no, excuse me.
If I'm Greg Berhalter, I know exactly who he's taking.
Who's he playing?
He's probably going to start Zach Steffen.
Right. Who do you start?
I'd actually probably go with our Arsenal alternate there. That has I'd actually probably go with him to begin with, because at the end of the day, yep. You want a goalkeeper who can stop the shots, and he's getting in game time here and there in significant.
That's what Sean Johnson does. He's a shot stopper, and he can actually catch the ball with his hands. Matt Turner does not have better hands than Sean Johnson.
No, Arsenal would say otherwise.
I don't care if Arsenal bought him. I care of how they play in matches, because that ultimately defines if you're a good keeper.
So, I mean, let's go just take a high school goalkeeper that's really good, though, because he stops shots all the time, and he's a frequent starter.
All right, hold on.
That's two different things. You're doing the pro game versus the youth game. It's completely different.
Understand. All right, I'm going to give you
I'm taking a pro versus pro. One plays in a higher league.
You just brought in high school. That has nothing to do with anything.
Oh, the boys.
I'm using your analogy of, hey, well, this guy's a better shot stopper in a lower league. That's my point. You're taking a guy in a lower league that's a better shot stopper. Great. The other guy plays in a
leagues have nothing. It's all about game time.
Then I'll go back to my comment. Take a high school goalkeeper. That's really phenomenal. Then if leagues have nothing to do with it.
You're doing youth soccer.
Okay, take a USL goalkeeper then. What's Nate Steinwasser doing? Because you got it. The league has something to do with it.
But it's not even close to even what athletically and what everyone else could do for Sean Johnson, Turner, and Stefan. It's not even close.
Okay, all right, hold on, boys. All right, I'm going to answer the question now.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Greg Berhalter starts Matt Turner, game 1. Yeah. I'm going to go Craig gets inserted as coach. I start Matt Turner as well. Write it down right now. I think Matt Turner starts those games.
Yeah, I think he deserved it.
Based on what he's done at Arsenal, yes, it's been very good. He's gotten a lot better with his feet at Arsenal. Mm-hmm. But in the qualifiers, in the last 6 to 8 months, he's been the guy. He's been the guy for Greg Berhalter. He trusts him. He's a great shot stopper. He's not as good with his feet, but he's getting there. He's been working on it with Arsenal. He's been very good for Arsenal in big games where Ramsdale hasn't played. So good arguments. Understand everybody's perspective on it. I get it.
To the center backs?
Let's move to center backs. I'm very interested in this.
Okay. So if I have the Greg Berhalter hat on, okay, and I looked at a lot just to see.
Hold on one quick. Sorry, Brooks, not to cut you off. Everybody online, I see there's quite a few people watching. Yeah. Who do you think should be the starting goalkeeper? Tell us. I don't care about what you think is going to be it. Greg Berhalter is going to be. Tell us who you think. I see Steven Aversa. I see Mike B. They're picking theirs. Who should be the goalkeeper? Is it Turner? Is it Stefan? Or is it Johnson? We've all got different perspectives here. Let us know who you think. All right, on to center backs.
Some good comments.
Who does?
Mike and Steve had some good comments, and we'll get to them. I just want to acknowledge that what they're saying is good.
On to the center backs.
All right, so my Greg Berhalter hat. I'm Greg Berhalter.
You are now Greg Berhalter.
This is on Wednesday or whatever, prepping. Walker Zimmerman. Tim Ream.
You wait. You are now Greg Hold on.
Yes.
Let me switch. You are now Greg Berhalter.
Yes.
And you are.
Yes.
You think he's gonna start
because I know to keep my job to be in 2026. If we go 2 cycles with this, that I have to get out of the group and I have to perform. If I don't get out of the group and I don't pick some type of veteran person that can get us through, or a team that's strong enough, I'm done.
I want to remind you,
yes,
Walker Zimmerman has been in all the squads.
Yes.
All the squads.
And Ream hasn't. I understand that.
Ream hasn't been. The last squad he was called into was like in 2021. It
might have been with Dave Sarrigan.
Sure.
It might have been when Dave Sarrigan filled in after Bruce.
Yeah, I think Tim might have made a mistake. I gotta be honest. I don't remember, but he hasn't been in the last several squads.
So I'm the Greg Berhalter hat.
Yep.
It's very common, as we've seen, to him go in misdirection to be like, I fucked up. I didn't do the right formation. It's a lot of going back and being honest with himself and being, this is what I should have done. And I think
it's too late for that now.
I think the way Tim Ream is playing, I think he is telling himself, I think I need to take this guy because he has experience. He can do certain things that are needed, and I need him as a veteran to help lead these younger guys.
I think Brooks' common sense brain is getting confused with Greg Berhalter brain. I think you are right. Trust me, you're right. Yeah. You're right. Who should start? Yeah. I don't think Greg Berhalter is that. Nate, I know you're itching to say something on this.
Hold on. Can I finish the 5?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
So I'm taking 5. Yeah, I'm taking the full 26. I'm letting you know I have 26, but here are my 5. Walker Zimmerman, Tim Ream, Chris Richards, Cameron Carter-Vickers, and Aaron Long. This is my Greg Berhalter hat.
And Aaron Long and Zimmerman have been the pairing that we've seen most recently.
Yes.
Who I think Greg Berhalter is going to go with. I would like to see Cameron Carter-Vickers get some minutes, but I think it's going to be Long and Zimmerman personally because that's who Greg Berhalter has been with for the last couple of
now he's
camps and cycles, and they've grown accustomed to each other. And I think that's who he should go with.
Correct. And he has picked before Eric Palmer-Brown, who's coming for a little bit and been in and out with the national team, and then he's also picked Mark McKenzie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just don't think he's picked them often enough, or if he likes them enough, to be honest with you, they do enough. Maybe Mark McKenzie, but okay. Go ahead, Nate.
So I'm going to disagree with you, but agree with you at the same time.
Okay.
Because Ream should be a starter.
Okay.
And Greg Berhalter is not going to pick him.
Okay.
He won't be even called in.
You don't think he'll double back like he likes to? Okay.
Going to agree with Nate 100%
I don't
on that.
think-
I don't think he's getting called in, but he should be.
He should be.
Start.
He should be. So if you hold on. So let me preface this. Nate doesn't believe that there's an urgency to actually perform well, and we have this argument offline all the time in this World Cup. Nate would use this World Cup as a springboard to get every player eligible, and by eligible I mean guys who are young enough to play in the next World Cup, game time starting experience, so I can dunk it home 2026 as a way to develop. That's what I would do. But there are some people who are like, hey, we need to win, and if you're looking to, hey, we need to win, there's no way you leave Tim Ream off this boat. So the only way you leave Tim Ream off this boat is if you kind of are thinking like me, and maybe I'm thinking wrong, that's fine. You know what I mean? But Tim Ream, you're right. It should be Tim Ream and Zimmerman. It's not. It's going to be Zimmerman, Richards, it's going to be McKenzie, it's going to be Palmer and or Vickers. That's what it's going to be.
You don't think Aaron Long?
You think it's going to be...
Oh, Aaron Long. Sorry, Aaron Long in there.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
But it's going to be definitely the three, or the four shoe-in is going to be Long, Zimmerman, Richards, maybe, I'd say that he's maybe not. But Long, Zimmerman, and McKenzie for sure. And then it's going to be either one of the three of Palmer Brown, Richards, or Vickers. Now, I think based on seeing the partnership with Richards and Zimmerman when Robson was out, those two are phenomenal, and that would be warranting something. Sure. But I might think that he might be on the outside looking in based on the roster selected, but maybe he gets put in. I don't think Tim Ream makes it, and it's a shame because I think he should.
I think we're all in agreement, though, that if
should.
we had to start two guys, if it was us, it would be Ream and Zimmerman, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Are you in agreement with that, Nate?
there.
Sorry, what?
But
One more time?
In agreement, if, since Robinson's hurt and he tore his Achilles, if we're going to start two, it's going to be Ream and Zimmerman together.
If I'm trying to win, yes, I'd go
Okay.
Ream and Zimmerman.
Okay.
If I'm trying to develop, I'd put Richard somewhere in there because he's my future.
Okay.
Sure.
And I would just roll with it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. What do we got next? There,
Okay, so
Brooks?
outside backs.
Yep.
Okay, so my Greg Berhalter right here.
Oh, Lord.
Anthony Robinson,
Yep, Jedi.
Serginho Dest,
Yep.
Reggie Cannon,
Yep.
DeAndre Yedlin.
Yep.
And I'm thinking again, he's going to go back on his word, and he never put Scally in enough, but he's going to take a fifth one because he needs another left footer that can play left. Because you've seen at times when he's tried to play inverted outside backs, it doesn't work very well. I think he takes Scally.
And Scally was in one of the previous.
He's been called up several
has been
times
called
now.
up
He has.
recently.
Lately.
Yeah.
He should be there.
Yeah.
I think he will make this squad. I think he will because he's been doing well in a very good league.
I completely agree with everything that Brooks just said right there. I think it's going
Like
to be
Greg
those.
Berhalter hat.
That's going to be those five, and it will be those five called in because Scully has been brought in. Yedlin has been a stalwart, and actually he's been playing very good.
Yeah.
You can't if he leaves Dest, you might get fired. Jedi Robinson has been fantastic for Fulham.
Yep.
DeAndre Yedlin's a veteran who's played for a while.
Who can give you good minutes and still has good legs
He can.
and a good
he's
brain.
good-
Yeah.
And if you want to play a wing back system,
Yep.
the three back you can.
Absolutely.
And he's
Yep.
played with Newcastle, and he's
Yep.
played, yeah.
We
So-
all think he's going to go 4 in the back, so who are his two outside backs?
Robinson and Dest.
Yeah, it's going to be Robinson Dest. Even though I don't
Agreed.
think Dest is the best option there, it's going to be Robinson to Dest.
Yeah.
Dest is your best option going forward to create offense
I
and
think-
score a goal or
I
two.
would- I would-
defensively.
I
it's
would-
a
Cannon,
spot.
you want to
Right.
put Cannon there to defend.
I would do what basically Klinsmann did with Fabian Johnson, which would took him, who traditionally plays outside back, and he moved him into a midfield role because of his creativity and speed. And I would take Yendelin because he's a better defender and put him right behind Dest to make sure he covers any defensive faulties he has. And Robinson is just good, and I won't have to worry about that on the left-hand side.
Yep. All right. I mean, I think we're all in agreement there. Greg Berhalter hat. I think we're all gonna just agree with Greg, unless he just fucking fucks it up and whatever.
No,
All right.
it's those five. Those are the only five around.
So into the midfield.
Yep.
So,
What do we got next?
So this is a tough one because he's lost Luca de la Torre.
World Cup
Christian
starters.
Roldan, it has a sports hernia.
Yep.
So the possibility of him being on the fringe guy or possibly like number 26 or 25 get on the team is not happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of been and when I get later into stuff, when I tell you about the 20s and 23s and such, and some of the guys, like some of those guys that have been called in, I think fall into that category. For me, I'm taking, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 guys. There could be another one. He might take 6.
Okay.
I don't know. If you'll find my later picks interesting. But, okay, my 5 mids, Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa, Kellen Acosta, Sebastian Lletget.
Now, Lletget hasn't
need a
made
10.
the last couple of squads.
Yes.
So you're hoping to bring
He
him
needs
along
a veteran
as a veteran.
in the midfield, and he doesn't really have a true 10.
Okay.
And
So-
as you see, he really only has one defensive midfielder in Tyler Adams. Kellen Acosta can play 6 and 8, and Kellen can play 6, but I think you technically in that midfield with Weston's an 8. He's not a 10. He really doesn't do well to pick up the ball and turn and play 6 very well. Musa can probably play 10 a little bit. He's an 8 as well. So he needs a guy that gives you something a little different. And I think that's why he's like, oh, I need a veteran. I'm down a couple mids. Lletget.
I don't think Lletget makes this squad. I don't think Lletget should make this squad, even with the injuries we have. But
Who would you put with?
I don't even know who.
Because they're down so many players.
What are you doing with Aronson? Is he
what
going
is
out?
He's a winger for me.
What about Aronson, Tillman, and
Okay.
Busio?
That's later. That comes later after this.
Those are all.
You think
Busio is a?
You got to wait till I'm done with this for me to give my explanations.
Okay,
But I
Busio's
do-
a mid, but
you want to put
all
him
right.
in the squad right now? And
He's
in
not
that
good
group.
enough for this team.
Okay.
You have to wait till after I'm done with this
Well,
to then
but
to me to
Tillman's
jump
You want to
10.
move him into the starting, not in the starting, but
Tillman's
into
a
the
10.
main first
Aronson
squad.
can play a 10. Gio Reyna can play a 10. Are those guys? Were they? They're wingers then, or?
They're on my. Some of those are on my. You have to let me finish, and then we have to go in.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, all right. So that's your center mid right
Yes.
there. Okay.
Now my wingers.
Now your wingers. Let's hear your wingers.
Tim Weah,
Yep.
Christian Pulisic,
Never heard of him. Yep.
Gio Reyna,
Because we've got a signed jersey in the background by the
Yeah.
way. Gio Reyna, who came back, scored a goal this week. Yes.
Brendan Aronson.
Okay, Aronson.
Okay. So
What
those
are
my-
are you playing a 4-3-3?
No, I'm not even playing a formation here.
Okay.
I'm just. This is who I think he's going to take, and he's going to try to whatever he's going to do.
Okay.
Okay. Are we good with that? I think
I think
Berhalter.
all those names make sense.
So
yeah.
Tillman's out then.
You have to wait. Yes, he is. But you have to wait for my explanation after.
All right, so now we got our center mids, we got our wingers.
Yes.
Okay. Now
I took. If I was him and I took four, of the 26, I took 4 center forwards because you don't know what you're going to get from any of these guys. And I think he has to do this.
You're
if I'm
taking
Greg
4
Berhalter,
center forwards.
Yes.
I like it, and I hope one of them's named is.
if I'm Greg
Jordan
Berhalter,
Pique,
and
but-
I know everyone I've tried has not really worked, or they have moments. You have to take the guys that have the hot hand, and you also have to take the guys that you're kind of playing favorites towards. So my Greg Berhalter hat. Jesus Ferreira.
So, this right now is your forwards. You're going with your forwards.
Yes, these are my
Okay,
forwards.
all right, starting
This
with
is the last-
Jesus
yeah.
Ferreira is number 1 for you. Okay.
Jesus Ferreira, Ricardo Pepi,
Pepe.
Josh Sargent, Jordan Pique.
Okay. Nate, I want to let. I think you and I are in agreement. He's not taking Jordan Pique.
I think he's going to double back. This is my Greg Berhalter hat, thinking, shit, I made a bad decision. I should have done this. I'm doubling back. Because he double backs on everything he does.
Nate,
Everyone knows that with the formations
He's not
he
taking
plays.
P-Fuck.
not taking Pique, just like.
Here, and this is what he will say. He'll say these 2 things. Mark my words. Number 1, well, he hasn't been in with the squad long enough, yada, yada, yada. And 2, he hasn't been informed the last few weeks, yada, yada, yada.
Okay.
And he's not going to take P-Fuck.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's and part of me understands. Part of me goes, well, the reason why he's not in the squad is because, hey, jerk, you're not putting him in, and so yeah, he's Berhalter's the type of guy who isn't gonna, if you're not in the this was what he said about Scully. If you're not in the program, if you're not around, you're not getting called in. If you're not there, you're not getting called in. Pique hasn't been called in. He's not there. That's why Tim Ream won't get taken either. Now, whose fault's that? It's Berhalter's.
It is.
Okay.
But he
but
doubles back on everything he says.
He has never double backed on taking players.
He does it all the time on his formations, though. He
does,
second guesses himself.
Yes.
And then I truly believe he's going to do this.
Yes, but on players, no. And even when he started taking Scully didn't even get playing time. And it was like, why'd you call in Scully if he wasn't going to play? Well, he's got to be around the program. Blah, 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 blah. He has this whole mentality of these players have to be around the program in order before they get a chance. And I highly doubt he's going to flip that script for the biggest series of games when he wouldn't flip it for friendlies.
Okay. Fair enough.
And if he does, then, I mean, honestly, then you got to really question the guy's logic then. Because you can't sit there for friendlies and go, I'm not going to play players or call them in because they're not part of the system. And then for the World Cup, just all go, oh, yeah.
I think he is so uncertain that he will do that. He will double back on what he says.
I hope you're right. I really hope you're right.
Honestly,
I don't think
it will hit him in the face,
are.
and his coaching staff is probably saying, we need this person. And then finally, he's like, "Shit, we do."
I want to hear from some of the folks who are watching. Do you think Tim Ream's coming in, and do you think Pique's coming in? Do you think he's going to take those two guys who he hasn't picked in the last several call-up squads? Do you think? I want to know what people think. Brooks, I really, really hope you're right. I hope he doubles back, and I hope he realizes that Tim Ream is a leader and deserves to be in this squad, and Jordan Pique can score a lot of goals and deserves to be in this squad because goal scorers are hard to come by, and I really hope he puts them in. I just don't see it happening. But I like where your brain's going. I hope Greg Berhalter channels the inner Brooks, and he does take them. All right,
are we going to my U20s and 23s now? Because this is where some of Nate's guys fall in right now.
So wait,
I can do this quickly.
I want to. Sorry, I keep hitting the wrong screen.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I understand.
Also think Tillman has a spot on the team. Thank you.
Yes. I want to make sure though that I understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So we've got the players you just named.
26.
That was 26, and now we're going to go to the U23s who potentially could be a couple of them coming up or coming in.
Some of them, or everyone's thought that they've had time and they're not good enough. So I've separated into this.
Okay.
Good enough.
Let's make this quick, but not good enough, but good enough to be in the U20. We'll call it the second string.
Yeah. No, I've just went, they're never going to be national team players. They're not ready, or they're possible.
All right, hit it.
So they're not good enough. So I separate in two categories. Period, they're not good enough, period, or right at the moment, they're not there.
Okay, let's hear
Johnny
it.
Cardosa, not good enough.
Not good enough.
Eric Palmer-Brown, not good enough. Mark McKenzie, not right at the moment. Jordan Morris, probably not anymore, period, because he's too old. Cade Cowell, not good enough.
The dude is a beast, by the way.
He is.
He needs to stop going to the weight room.
Yes, and he's just too straight. He doesn't do enough.
Not good enough.
Caden Clark, not good enough.
Not good enough.
Brian Gutierrez, U20s, not good enough. Jackson Yule, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay. Gaga Salinina, not good enough. Gianluca Busio, maybe in the next 2026 coming in. Tanner Tessman.
You don't think Selena? No. Not even.
And I'm going to tell you why
because
I'm going to tell you the not ready person that I think will jump him.
You think there's going to be someone who jumps him and Chelsea should have bought? Okay, all right, let's go.
Tanner Tessman at Venezia, that was FC Dallas.
Yep.
Maybe he's not quite there right now. He needs more playing time. Okay. Okay. The not ready guys.
Yep. But
where I think they have a shot, but they're not ready right now.
Yep.
Malik Tillman, Paxton Aronson, Ethan Horvath, Chris Brady, who's behind Gaga Slonina at the Fire, who's playing for the U20s right now, and I think he has better potential than Gaga Slonina. I think Chelsea got that wrong. They didn't do enough recruiting and scouting of the kid. They're going to loan him out. They're going to get rid of him, and it was only how much they paid for him. It was chump change, but I don't think he is the next guy in line to step up. Okay,
right. Interesting.
Obed Vargas. It's deciding right now between Mexico and the United States national team. Midfielder, teenager that plays for the Seattle Sounders. Okay. Kevin Paredes for Wolfsburg, the U20.
Yep, he's definitely the next.
Yes, he's up and coming. For outside back or winger, whatever, he's Cole Bassett.
Yep.
For Tuna. Okay. Eric Williamson for the Portland Timbers.
Okay.
He's got a little time at the Gold Cup. He was injured. He's come off an injury, but I think he's got potential. Georgi Mihailovic, who's now at AZ Alkmaar. I think with the rotation, he could possibly play himself in if he does well overseas.
Okay.
And then the possibility for me, the one possibility I think that if you didn't want to take an extra forward, that you want to take another winger for this team, that I think deserves a shot, is Paul Arriola. Because he can play wing back for you. He could play a winger, So that's a possibility of a guy that I think maybe is the outside looking in.
Okay. All right. Nate, anything to comment on that?
Yeah, I definitely think a player not playing in the Champions League for the Rangers is not good enough for our national team.
No, I said he's not ready. I didn't say he's not good enough.
Don't call him in. Why would you want him?
He
had assists today, by the way. I think Tillman. I think Tillman actually has a spot on this team with 26 players. I think he should be put in. I think he needs to be put in because you could lose him if he doesn't get put in. So, but most everything else I kind of agree with. I do think he'll call on Arriola somewhere though. I don't know who that.
He does seem to like.
I don't know who's going to be left out.
Arriola had a good season at FC Dallas.
Yes. Well, there's the
and
MLS.
He's very deceptive, and he can get in and cross the ball. He's a good 1v1 attacker. He tracks back.
There's the MLS rule where you have to have a certain amount of MLS players on your national team. That's a
Does that apply to every national team?
No, just our national team. Yeah, it's a pre-requirement.
Thank goodness, because
so you got to find some room there. So Arriola, I think, will get put in as that. Just like Aaron Long, he shouldn't be there, but he's going to be put in because MLS. I'm not bashing on MLS, but it does seem like that some of these guys get called in over some of the other players, and there's examples of this even in last cycle or last World Cup qualification where they left some players head-scratchingly left a Stoke defender home because they said he wasn't fit, and that week he was playing for Stoke in a game that was crucial. So, for the most part, most of those I agree with. I think Busio, that he should be in there. I really do think he is warranted it. I think he's played well for the national team when he's come in. I think he plays overseas. He might get passed over. That will probably be the guy that gets passed over for Arriola because and I don't know. I think for that 10 spot, especially like you said, it was lacking because a lot of your 10s you shift out the winger.
He's not a 10 though.
But he does. He's played. That's what he plays for Rangers. That's what he played today with it.
Oh, Tillman. I thought you were
Tillman. Tillman.
Okay.
Tillman.
Yeah.
Tillman plays. I think he might have a spot there. Maybe not as a starter, but a rotator because, like you said, other guys who can play it like Gio Reyna. Other guys who can play like Aronson. You
can pop Aronson in the 10.
You easily could pop those two guys in the 10, but he has them, a lot of times he pushes them out wide, and I could even see, because of your lack of forwards, a Pulisic playing the 9. So there might be some shuffling there where you have like an Aronson playing wide with Way on the other side and Pulisic playing that 9, and then that would warrant a 10 where Tillman, might slide in. Yeah. So, it's an interesting lineup. I think I'm just going to be disappointed no matter what Greg Larson picks, because I think there's going to be guys that I think there's going to be one or two guys for sure that I'm going to look at and go, you probably should have took this guy.
So the one thing
I think we're all going to be disappointed come Wednesday when we find out the 2 or 3 players that we really want to see are not picked, and they're not even picked just for their leadership skills or because they can do the job. It's just because they got on the wrong side.
I'll go back. I wouldn't take Tim Ream. I wouldn't take him because of what my strategy is. But seeing that you guys think different and you guys are like, hey, we got to win, that warrants Tim Ream being a starter. So with that logic, then I agree with you guys. He should be there. Again, I wouldn't because I would try to do something a little bit different. Maybe I'm just a crazy asshole, probably. But if you're trying to win, how do you not take the captain of Fulham? I don't understand. And I don't think you will.
The one last comment I will say is for these young guys, and I know I was being, why wouldn't you start Turner or Zach Steffen? My thing is, and I've talked about this with a lot of people, is people don't understand sometimes and I know some, like New England was selling Turner over there. Like he had no control over that. And that's the problem sometimes with players is, you have no control of where you're sold and whatnot. And everyone's like, oh, you're up. The thing people don't understand is when you're an American, and, it's like, oh, you're only playing in MLS, and, and everyone's, the dream is to go to Europe and at a young age and everything. People don't understand the grass isn't always greener on the other side, meaning it's not always the best step for your career depending on your age and the environment you're going to choose to go into. That heading from America to Europe is always the best decision maker, and that you'll definitely be looked at for the national team. And I'm not a believer of that. That's why I believe that Gaga made the wrong decision. I think going to Chelsea is too big of a step for him. And I just think some guys need to be very careful of where they go, and we've seen it a lot with a lot of these young guys that go over to Europe and then they end up coming back to MLS, and they end up doing pretty well in MLS. Whereas if they stuck around a little longer in America and found something, but again, some of those teams may not have given them the time as a youth player to do that.
Well, we'll find out this Wednesday who Greg Berhalter is taking. Maybe he'll fall asleep at the wheel. I believe there's a 5 o'clock Eastern time drop, if I'm not mistaken, and then 5:30 there's going to be a bunch of talk about it afterwards on a bunch of different shows. We plan on having a show that night as well, and we'll let you know our thoughts on the roster, and we'll see what we can do. Because the World Cup is in Qatar and it couldn't be played in the summer, it has to be played in November, December. We'll call it winter. It is in the middle of all of the seasons, all of the league campaigns. There's been a lot of players whose bodies are breaking down or they're getting injured, and now they are going to miss the World Cup. So we're going to talk about some of the superstars, some of the players that are missing this World Cup because they've gotten injured recently, and then we'll tell you, too, who's going to be playing in their last World Cup. They've already come out and said these will be their last World Cup. All right, players missing that we know of right now. Again, there's still 14 days left, and a lot of these teams still have games. The Carabao Cup's being played in England, then there's another league game next weekend. There's games left to be playing, so a lot of these players can still get injured and miss the World Cup. But here's the list so far that we know. Gini Wijnaldum, Calvin Phillips, Emile Smith-Rowe, Kyle Walker is doubtful. Reece James, out. Miles Robinson, out. Raul Jimenez, out. Paul Pogba and his midfield partner, N'Golo Kante. That's a big part of that French national team, out. German player, Marco Reus, out. Florian Wirtz, out. Thibaut Courtois, out. Nuno Mendes, Pepe, Ronaldo Araujo, Rafael Varane. That's a big one for France. Paul Pogba. Already nailed him. Ben Chilwell, backup, outside back for England, out. Alphonso Davies yesterday pulled his hamstring. Looks like he's out for Canada. That's a big one. Timo Werner, out. Crepeau, the LFC goalie, out. We saw him break his leg yesterday. Although, again, that broken leg happened 12 months ago. He's still out for this World Cup because that was a terrible break. Boys, there's a lot of players out for this World Cup. In my opinion, it's because of the amount of games that these players have been able to play. How close it's coming. There's no recovery time before the World Cup. It's kind of sad to see. Don't you agree? Big names.
Did I miss any? This is normal, right? For every World Cup cycle that happens in December.
Yeah,
it's common.
Yeah.
It's common.
MLS goes through it.
Well, yeah.
But it's a different time. They have a different cycle. So.
Correction, Wirtz was injured long ago, though.
Yeah.
So
there's several that.
Yeah.
Again,
but Timo Werner was the one that just got pinched up just the other day. That hit up, and actually, as I was having some talk with some other people on the German site, I don't think the German national team is going to be fazed by it. I think they have other guys that he's not a true 9, and his true position is a good position would be a 7 or 11, and they got other guys that are probably better than him to play in the 7 or 11.
Sure, absolutely.
Germany has B-team players that could affect the game. That's how deep German. I'm just saying.
Yeah. The Mannschaft.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like I said, Ben Chilwell this week pulled up lame, and he'll be out. He's a backup for England, right?
Yeah.
But Reece James and Kyle Walker could absolutely have been starters on a whatever day. So that's really going to hurt them. Emile Smith-Rowe was never going to be a starter, but he could be someone who comes in the last 20 minutes and plays. Great young player for Arsenal. It would have been nice to have him healthy. He's out. It's a shame that the World Cup is in this point of the year because it's just putting a lot of stress on these players' bodies. I do want to say, actually, it's funny that I bumped into quite a few people who realize the World Cup is now coming up in a couple of weeks. There's a lot of exposure, a lot of commercials on TV showing them this. And they've asked me, well, is this the normal time for the World Cup to be played? No. The World Cup has always been played in the middle of the summer. It has never been played this far into the year. The reason it's happening is because it's in Qatar. So for those folks who are watching who don't know, this is the first time ever that it's being played this far into the year, and now is interrupting league play. It's just a horrible thing. Do you guys want to move on to some of the players who have said that this will be their last World Cup? You ready?
No, because it just makes me sad.
It makes me very sad as well.
Can we just not?
I know. All right. Well, unfortunately, we are going to talk about some of the players who have come out and said this will be their last World Cup. Brazilian Dani Alves, 39 years old. This will be his last World Cup. Pepe for Portugal, if he makes it, he has picked up an injury. He's 39. This will be his last World Cup. Thiago Silva, Chelsea center back, Brazil center back, 38 years old, has said this will be his last World Cup. Cristiano Ronaldo, 37. Definitely going to be his last World Cup. There's rumors that he shouldn't even be starting because Portugal are a better team without him. We'll see if that happens.
I agree.
Croatia midfielder and little magician Luka Modric, 37 years old, his last World Cup. Manuel Neuer, the German national team goalkeeper, 36 years old. This is going to be his last World Cup. And the GOAT, Lionel Messi, 35 years old, has said this will be his last World Cup. I'm surprised he said this before the World Cup, but maybe that's a little bit of a inspiration factor for Argentina and his teammates. Suarez and Cavani have both come out and said, both 35 years old and both come out and said this will be their last World Cups. Angel Di Maria for Argentina, he's currently 34, said this will be his last World Cup. Benzema, you all know that he won the Ballon d'Or recently. This is going to be his last World Cup, according to him. He's 34. And one Lewandowski, 34, Polish striker, the last World Cup as well. The end of an era. Those are some big names, boys. That's some big names right there. And I guarantee after the World Cup's done, there'll be another couple of players that come out and say this is their last World Cup. So it's unfortunate because the next World Cup, if people don't know, 2026, is in the USA. Technically, it's North America, right? Canada, USA, Mexico. Yeah. That's where it's going to be. So there's going to be a lot of players who, after the World Cup, come out and say that'll be their last World Cup that they just played in. It's unfortunate because we wanted to see a lot of those players here, but who wants to see a 41-year-old Ronaldo running around, right? Who wants to see a 39-year-old? Actually, Messi will probably still be great.
In MLS.
And that rumor has come out this week. Messi for $30 million to Inter Miami. Yeah. Whether that happens, I don't know. Just rumors.
Benzema to LA Galaxy after Chicharito retires and all that.
Benzema's still got another year or two, right, at the top level.
Yeah.
He's 34, but I think he's still got another year or two at Real Madrid, the top level. And if anybody disagrees with me, let me know. But he's still putting the ball in the back of the net, and is just such a smart player. If you watch him play, the runs he makes. The way he can slide off a defender's shoulder and create space for himself, even at the age of 34, against these young defenders is crazy. Excuse me. I noticed Nate was doing a little bit of a laughing when I said the GOAT, Messi. No? Okay. Maybe something else. I don't know.
I mean, he's great in France.
He is actually... He's actually doing really well over there. I know it's a shit league. I don't care.
You said all I needed to say.
It's a crap league. It absolutely is. It's a 2-horse race every year. It's actually a 1-horse race every year. I know it. He's playing with some of the best players, but even when he's got the best players in the league on his team, he still comes out as the man of the match pretty much.
Yeah. The two biggest complainers in the world, Mbappe and Neymar.
Yeah, this is true. Mbappe and Neymar. Oh, yeah. God. All right, we're going to finish it up. We got 10 minutes left. Nate, I apologize. We don't have too much time here, but I do want to talk about some Bundesliga.
Oh, yeah. When it's running late because we talk too much, it's Bundesliga chat time with Brooks and Craig.
And Nate. All right, buddy, what we got? Because you know what? There's a new team atop of the Bundesliga.
Shit.
Yeah.
You had one job union. You had one freaking job, and you screwed it up. But before we even get there, let's talk about we are the champions. How many English teams are moving forward, Craig?
Off the top of my head, I actually don't know.
Four.
I was gonna say
How many?
four.
Four. And how many Bundesliga teams are moving up, Craig?
All of them.
4 out of 5. So you are correct, almost all of them. With only, unfortunately, Leverkusen,
Only one
Xavi.
Spanish team.
What?
Only one Spanish
Yep,
team.
and Xavi wasn't able to save Leverkusen. He was a little bit too late coming in, but they were going to play in the Europa, and all the teams in the Europa moved forward. And really, the only team that kind of got knocked out was Cologne in the Confederations Cup or there.
Yep.
So Bundesliga doing fantastic in European football. Freiburg's undefeated within the Europa. Munich is undefeated within the Champions League. So they're all rounding it out. Leipzig needed to win. They did it. Good job, Leipzig. Frankfurt in that group. Let's talk about, hey, at halftime, we're out. And then we're number 1, and then slide to number 2 last like 2 seconds. That was a crazy group. That was a crazy group. But good on Frankfurt, because that's a team not full of like superstars or anything crazy, and they're just playing good football.
Who just made a purchase
Of
Paxton Aronson.
Boom.
Young Philadelphia Union player for $4 million.
Right. So I heard a rumor about this going on, but it wasn't Paxton that was actually named. That Frankfurt, because they're worried about their Japanese international star player, name escapes me right now, and I'm not going to look it up because we're running out of time. They're worried about him leaving because he didn't sign an extension, and he's having a career year, so they were kind of nervous about him leaving. So they signed Paxton to come in and step in for him. Let's turn it over to our MLS expert, Brooks. Paxton, how do you think he's going to do with that type of jump? Do you think it's something that, because I think Frankfurt historically usually they lose one and they plug a new guy in. That's kind of like their thing, and they like to. They appear to have good scouts, and they appear to look for players kind of like this that they could bring on in. But based on what you've seen in the MLS, I'd be interested to know what you have to say or think about Paxton coming in, whether or not he's going to be a player that you think that can make that jump.
Yeah. Well, I know that Frankfurt likes the American player. They've really been recruiting the American player hard. So for Paxton, I mean, he's played a lot with Union 2, but he's also gotten first team minutes with Philadelphia. Moves very similar to how his brother Brendan does. Like, he can change direction very well. I don't see him as being used as much of a wide player as his brother is. I don't see that versatility in him, but he is very nitty-gritty, gets stuck in, willing to do the work. So it's going to be an interesting jump for him, but I think the Bundesliga is a place where he could do that. And even if his brother Brendan had started over there and not in Salzburg, I felt like Brendan could have done well starting there.
So Kamada is the Japanese international that they're looking to play. He plays more of an attacking midfielder. Is that a 1-for-1 trade then? Can he come in and play that type of attacking?
I think Paxton can score. I wouldn't say he's going to score you goals all the time, but he can create. And I think if they want a creator that can get them goals at some point, then that's.
So actually, that would be because Kamada is more of a creator than anything else. So and that's what he is more of a creator, a guy with a high engine, does a lot of work. So it sounds like from what you're saying, it sounds like that might be a good fit for them. So that'll be interesting to watch and how that goes. Yep. So just kind of rounding off the games and pushing things along real quick. We had Gladbach, Joe Scully's Gladbach play Stuttgart here. Unfortunately, Stuttgart took a dive. Gladbach came out very strong, looked really good. Then, rounding into the yesterday's games, the big game that I was hoping for an upset but figured would not happen was Hertha playing München. München jumped out to 3 goals. Hertha started to track back. Choupo-Moting, 5 starts, all competitions, and a goal in each one of those competitions. So it started as a, hey, I need a target forward because now I'm just going to play Chapo it's actually starting to look like he is a really good player for them and, is filling the shoes of Landowski. If this keeps up, it'll be incredible. He had 2 goals against Hertha there, and both that type of just like Landowski type goals where he's in the 18 and then pulling the trigger and finishing it off. So it's pretty interesting. We'll see how that kind of develops as well. Dortmund did very well. Gio Reyna scoring a penalty kick, penalty earned, penalty scored by Gio Reyna. Good for him to be playing.
Yep.
Moving on.
Wrap that man in bubble wrap and cotton wool.
Yep.
We need Gio Reyna to be healthy for the World Cup, which is 14 days away.
Yes.
That was a fast one, Greg. Moving on. Leverkusen versus Union. Nate's hopes die in a match. Union and Leverkusen go in drawless. And Leverkusen just come out and 30 minutes, basically 6 minutes a goal, just start popping them in. Popping them in left and right. They scored 5 goals in 30 minutes.
Holy crap. We're going to put up the table real quick so people can see here. But holy crap.
Basically, it was everything that they said Xavi was brought in for. You have a bunch of really good players that they feel like they need to be inspired, they need to be motivated, they need to be pushed. And he didn't really change much tactically or formation. Just these guys just all of a sudden came out, started playing and firing second half. And it started with the goal, and then the Union goalkeeper had a mistake that led to a second goal. And then fast third, fast fourth, because they're pressing now because they're down by 2, they were able to counter with a third. And it seems to be working, and if they can keep this up, that would be great. But with every dark, rainy cloud and every shadow that casts upon the land and every jerk hole that goes, shut it. There's hope, Craig. There's Freiburg.
I know.
Freiburg came in.
Second place
They
now.
came in, and hats off to Christian Stock. Christian Stock, who's been with this team, I believe, around 11 years, and in his time, according to the announcers, over, I think they said 126, but definitely over 120 managers within the Bundesliga have been fired during his tenure within Freiburg. That has also included them being relegated and him bringing them back up. So you know what? Let's go Freiburg. Let's go Schwarzwald, Black Forest team. Beautiful area, by the way. Just going to plug that. Let's beat Bayern. Let's go, baby. And we have enough here. If you look at the points, everyone is, what was it, 26, 25? Let me read. I can read. 28, 27, 26, 25, 23, 22. Nate, why are you just counting out? Nope, those are the points separating all the teams. I'm not just counting. And that's how close it is right now. And my hope is that all of Bayern München's squad is basically going to go to the World Cup, which actually is a fact. All of them are going to the World Cup. Even Chapo Moting is playing for his national team. All of them are gone. All of them will come back exhausted with cool gifts from Qatar, while Freiburg is taking time off, playing friendlies, getting ready. Union taking time off, playing friendlies, getting ready. Frankfurt, Dortmund coming back refreshed. Actually, Dortmund will lose some players, but they can then close that gap after 2 weeks into this national break that München doesn't get. God only hopes.
God, we can only hope.
God only hopes.
We know you want to see Bayern München go on and win the Champions League, but not win their own.
I want Bayern München to win the Champions League. I want Freiburg or Union to win the league, and hell, let's have Freiburg just win the Europa while we're at it. That'll just be funsies.
Well, funsies, that describes our show pretty much. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for everybody for joining. Very much appreciate the love and support. Do us a huge favor. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a share. And if you are listening on a podcast, whether it be Apple Podcast or whatever the other podcasts are, Spotify, do us a favor. Leave a comment. Let us know. Leave us a 5-star rating. Very much appreciate it. All right, guys, for the boys at the kids table and myself, we're out. Cheers.